think that was by Richie Dorn, very talented player.
Yeah. I mean, aiming for the near post, finding the net. Yeah, it's from the one. From the one. Richard Dorn, who plays for Eintracht Frankfurt. I mean, he joined them during the summer, and he's already scored 3 goals and added 3 assists in 10 Bundesliga games this season. So he is definitely one of the brightest talents that is around in Japan. 27 years of age, and a very good close range finish, finding a near post, beating.
I think now I'm justified to ask, should Joseph Anna be considered from there?
I think now you're justified. I think you could have done a bit better with handling this situation. But also with these near post efforts, sometimes you do not expect the player to go near post. Usually most players will go far post, but he was smarter in this case going near post. But yeah, Joseph could have done a bit better in this situation. But then again, he is facing someone who is playing in a very competitive league, one of the top 5 leagues in the world, and has the quality to produce such finishes.
It's interesting that Kamaldeen Sulemana has been playing from the right all match. It's not only his favorite position.
Yeah, he should be playing from the left. He's better cutting and all of that. But I mean, at the start of the game, it was Antoine Semenyo on the left, and that's usually his zone. And so a sacrifice had to be made. But Otuado can, ask the players to switch sides too. It's always possible in a game.
At this point, it looks like a familiar story again. If you're looking back at 2022 when Ghana faced Japan in that current cup,
Yeah, they lost 4-1.
4-1, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another similar score. It's just up to Japan right now to turn it up a notch. It's just so easy for them.
Yeah, it sort of looks like they're playing a training session. It's like a training session to them. They're just pass and move, pass and move, pass and move, carving the Black Stars open so easily. And their press, as I've mentioned, looks very well coordinated. They know which places to be, and the Black Stars are struggling to get the ball out, being tackled because of the back three. So it's looking like Japan might even get one more goal at least before the game ends. And it's not looking like the Black Stars can create anything at this point. Good control there by Prince Komina, but he's being surrounded by so many
Surrounded by three Japanese
players.
Why is this a point? You see, that's the problem with when you are supposed to play in a 3-4-3, but your tech back and it becomes a 5-back. And so the moment you go long, you already have 5 defenders in your half class, maybe 2-3 central midfielders. So you only have about 2 attackers.
Yeah.
Up against a whole Japanese backline.
Attackers might be so far away from each other.
Yeah. You could clearly see that last attack.
Yeah.
Had about 4 or 5 touches, yet there was no one.
That was an effort there. Was it from Kamaldeen?
Yeah, from Kamaldeen.
I think that it was from him. But it was too close to the goalkeeper. Looks like Prince Komina is showing some bite up front.
Yeah, good hold up play once again.
Yeah, very good hold up play.
I think I just saw something interesting. Is Kamaldeen Sulemana wearing the captain's armor? I think I just saw that.
Really? I would be surprised. But
given the players left on, because after Semenyo left, someone had to take the armor.
Well, he's been around
Yeah, he's been around since 2019.
Yeah, 2019, and he can follow.
Yeah, just like he hasn't played as much things.
Yeah.
He should be somewhere around 24, 25 now for the Black Star.
Yeah.
Only got his first goal just a few months ago
Again,
against Chad.
It also highlights how young and inexperienced this particular group is.
Yeah.
For a game like this, or for two games upcoming like this. A very young, very inexperienced group. Not played so many games together. It just makes things even more difficult at this point. I see good signs from President Kwabena.
Yeah,
He seems to know what he's doing. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
And he brings something different.
He can run, he can hold up the ball. I want to see him actually have a shot and see how that goes.
That's a lovely goal.
Yeah, very good ball from Kamadi. Oh, that's terrible too. He's lucky he didn't concede a free kick there.
Yeah, it was a poor touch from Prince.
Oh, Steve making a progressive pass. This has been surrounded by a few more shirts.
Yeah, I don't understand how he's always isolated.
Yeah.
You would expect to see, if it's a wing back system, you would expect to see a bit of an overload with at least the left wing back, the Recon, moving into the wider area to provide an option, even possibly an overlap.
Yeah.
One Prince gets the ball there. But whatever the ball is in the left channel, it almost looks like a dead end.
That's it. Maybe it's an instruction from the coach that the left wing back stays back, the right wing back goes further up. But if the attacks are going through the left, then it's a very risky proposition because you definitely need support to create an opportunity from there. You can see Japan making some decisions already. Visa coming on. Germany. St. Pauli in Germany, Bundesliga. Japan actually came with a very good squad.
Yeah, very, very strong team. And when someone wants to go to the World Cup, it only makes sense that you put your best foot forward and try and make, because who knows the draw that takes place in the next few weeks, who knows, Japan could draw an African side, and that makes this exercise even more prudent. And so it's good that you take it serious, because Ghana is a decent side at the end of the day.
Yeah. And they might also be an Asian side, so it could have been even better if the key players were around to
Really assess
where
he stands. That's fair.
Another opportunity gone for Japan. They really dominated with regards to everything. Looking at the stats, Japan have already had 10 shots. Ghana have had half of that, that is 5 shots. 5 on target for Japan, just 1 on target for Ghana. That was a team effort by Kamadi Sulemana, straight to the Japanese goalkeeper.
Yeah. I'd really love to hear the reasoning behind playing Kamadi into the man up on the right side.
Yeah, that's not his favorite position at all.
Yeah, I would love to see the technical teams thinking that. I don't know what that, maybe that's to simplify his game. Maybe he should hold on to the strong foot and stays wide.
And cross.
So, cutting in.
But has he even crossed? I don't think that crossing is really strong.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not that much of a creator. All his threats comes from 1v1 cutting and shooting. So it feels like a bit of a reprogramming, which you don't expect to see at national team level because you only trained twice since they landed in Japan on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's not these two training sessions that you're going to use to reprogram your players. And so ideally, you want to tap into the strengths of the players that you have.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes the job simpler. And so I'm a bit surprised. But as I said, I'd love to hear what the technical team thinks on that. 2025 has been generally a really good year for the Black Stars. It's possibly the best the team could have mastered after that disastrous 2024 campaign. Where we saw the team miss out on the outcome.
A real turnaround. It looks like Christopher Bonsuba is about to come on. Yeah, but it's a huge turnaround. After missing out on that AFCON, there was still some doubt as to whether Ghana would qualify to an even tougher competition, which is the World Cup. But they managed to finish on top of the group, losing only once throughout the way. A very impressive showing. And even in the friendlies, the Unity Cup, I don't think they did too badly against Nigeria. TNT, Trinidad and Tobago, they were stronger. They were able to get results. But
that's why I'm a bit surprised because I thought this would be the litmus test to really find out how far this team has come under Otuado. Because playing against this Japan team, if there was anything close to Ghana's strongest side, so that there will be no excuses.
Yes.
With 7 months to the World Cup, that this is where the team sits. But at the end of the day, everyone can fall back on the excuse. The best players are not around, so it's difficult to really assess the campaign. However, you saw some players get their debut, which is a positive. And I'm not a big fan of that. I personally think if that should be the case, then it's a bit of a wasted window.
It is. It sounds like it. And also knowing that the Black Stars do not have the luxury of playing in the AFCON, because this would have been fair if there was an AFCON for the Black Stars to play, but they do not. And the next real international window will be in March. And so basically just about 4 games left. And that is too short and too little of a sample size for Otuado to really assess against some teams and deem themselves ready to actually compete. Because again, the expectations for Ghanaians would be that the team competes. 2014 World Cup, they exited the group stage, 2022 exited the group stage. And so the group stage exit will not be something that will please fans so much. So yeah, this overall hasn't been a good window. But hopefully we see, this game looks done and dusted. Hopefully against South Korea we see a lot more bites. Some French players really giving a headache for Otuado. It looks like Idil Mensah and Christopher Bonsuba are preparing to come on. And I would reckon that the defender will be off. It looks like Jerome Opoku is limping. He might be the one coming off. Yes, and he is coming off. Daniel from Asasante, the other player who is coming off.
I think Gideon slots into the centre back.
The centre back.
But they record Esco on the pitch.
Yes, so that means Gideon becomes the third centre back. We play alongside Ajete and Petra.
This was the first goal.
This was the first goal. It looked like a very big slip by Petra.
he probably just got the angles wrong. There was no way he was going to intercept that ball.
Yeah.
But this, I think Joseph Manan has to do better. He has to do better.
Yeah, he could have done better. He could have done better. That was a very good tight one he will finish.
Captain Marino is also coming off.
He's done his bit. He scored his goal, and now he can get a rest for Japan's next game. And for the statistics, Japan has 52% possession. Ghana has 48%. 12 shots for Japan, 5 shots for Ghana. 5 shots on target for Japan, just 1 on target for Ghana. So Ghana have actually attempted a number of passes. 382 attempted, completing 312. But the problem is most of them have been inside their own half.
What did you make of Van Den Thomas Asante starting? He's one of the players that a lot of people have clamored for. It's not just his inclusion, but getting significant game time. And he gets to start, albeit not a competitive match.
Yeah, but I think the little that he got, he tried to make the most of it. It's quite unfortunate that Japan showed to be the much more superior side, and Ghana basically struggled to play out of their own half. And so, for a striker like him, you definitely need service. He barely had that. And so, it would be unfair to say that he didn't play well. I think he did not have enough to go by to show what he can really do.
No, that's also one of the issues I was talking about not going with a full strength side or anything close to it. What it does is that it's even precarious for a lot of these debutants because national team football is very unforgiving.
Yeah.
And a lot of the nuance and context will be lost in 2-3 months when people say, yeah, Brandon started against Japan, what did we see?
Yeah.
But the truth is, he played with players who were also kind of new to the system. Everything looked a mess. And so everyone was trying to adjust. And it's not the right environment to really assess him. But then what matters most is he played and he didn't score. And that's what many people will remember.
But there will also be another opportunity in a few days against South Korea, which hopefully means giving that chance to start again. And on that occasion, he actually gets decent service.
Yeah.
And then makes the most out of it. I mean, we saw him get some service against Nigeria in the Unity Cup. He scored. So hopefully he gets another chance in a few days against South Korea and then convert that chance.
Guess who's on the left wing now?
Kamadi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see him all over there. Maybe the instruction now is switch because the change has been made. Christopher has come in, so Christopher takes the right, and then Kamadi can now take the left side. But I mean, this is the only time that Utuado can experiment something like this. I personally think if he tries it in a more competitive setting, that would be suicidal. You don't play players out of position and expect wonders from those players.
Do you think this is the peak of this squad in this game? Was there any chance that they could have done better than they had against Japan today?
I think in the first few minutes, if they were able to contain the pressure from Japan, then maybe we could have seen something better. But since Japan got the first goal, they've been more confident, they've been calmer, they've been able to execute their game plan. And when these guys new to each other, it's always going to be difficult to maneuver what Japan throws at them. And so I think this is the best we can do at this point. Hopefully in the next game they produce something better and then we could be able to say that we can pick these two or these three players who can possibly get a place in the next call-up format where we expect that most of the key players will be around because it's that close to the World Cup and we don't have to miss anybody. But looking at the centre backs, we are seeing a totally new group. We've been used to Mohamed Salah to Alexander Jiku. I mean, looking at what we have available, like Jerome Mokoku started, Jonas Adjeti, and then Kojo Pepra. I mean, looking at these guys, do you think any of these guys can really slot in when we don't have the luxury of having Alexander Jiku and Salisu around?
I probably still not seeing enough from these players. I still feel there's a bit of a gap when you take away Jiko and Salisu, and then the next tier of defenders that Ghana has. Kojo Pepra has some really good potential. Came in 2 years and he started the season very strongly as well.
Yeah.
But playing for the national team is a different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
And sometimes it requires experience. These are the type of games where young players get to learn about what it really takes to play for the national team. And the ones who go to become better are the ones who learn from these type of experiences. So the good thing is that this is a friendly, and this is not the World Cup. Thankfully.
Yes, thankfully.
Hopefully Ghana doesn't draw the fun in the World Cup, by the way.
Since you're saying it, you might just draw the
At least you know what you will take.
You know what to expect.
Yeah. It would prove to be a master stroke there. But I do believe if Ghana had all their players available and Japan had all their players available, this would have been a very close one.
Yes. I think Ghana would have at least gotten a goal. It doesn't look like they would, but at least a goal and maybe a much tighter back line, which would have meant that Japan would struggle to score. It looks like the Black Stars are gradually getting the ball past their own house and going further up, which is a good sign. But Caleb Greenship, there's that question about him. I mean, since he came into the Black Stars, he's always been used as the right back, right wing back. But his natural position is back in the midfield, either as a defensive midfielder or a central midfielder. I mean, for you, which position do you think would be best for him in the Black Star setup to maximize his potential?
I think it's similar to the commanding discussion that we had. You have a player who is ranked as one of the most promising, not just midfielders, but players in Europe this season. If you're looking at the 22 talent. And he's only rated that highly because of how he plays in midfield. He has a unique set of attributes that combines his aggression, his ability to read the game, and his ability to cover ground and intercept and make tackles. That, in principle, can be translated into defensive positions. But you speak of maximizing potential, and I think it has to come from midfield. You saw that Morgan run that he put together just a couple of minutes ago, and he ended up playing the ball wide to deep. I think that is his future. He's looked very bright when he came on, and there again you see him sniffing out danger.
And intercepting.
And winning a free kick, taking pressure off the team. So I think that is where his future lies. And who knows? It took an injury for him to come into his position to show what he's made of. Sometimes that's what it takes. You come into the team using a back door. You don't necessarily have to come to your best position. Maybe you might be choked at that point, but I think he's been diligent as a right wing back, and today he got a chance against it. And he's very decent.
with the likes of Thomas Paatee still around.
The truth about the midfield is that if Otoado is playing two midfielders,
Yes.
Paatee is the front star.
Yes. So whoever partners him.
I think that the partner isn't set. Sibo came in,
3 games.
yeah, and taken he's taken it out. But then again, the same way he took it from maybe an Elisha or even a Salis or Ibrahim Suleimana, is the same way that you can use it. I feel after Paatee, all the midfielders, the central midfielders that we do have, it's quite close between them. And if you really stick a claim and you are consistent, you should be able to climb up in the pecking order. And so there's really that opportunity.
And that's also another worry because we know Paatee is head and shoulders above all the central midfield options. And so the question will definitely be who to replace him long term if he's actually not around and decides to take a step back from the Black Stars.
These profiles, they're not easy to replace.
Can play as a box to box. He can play as the defensive midfielder alone. He can move up. Yeah, can play as a 10 if needed. He's just so unique. At this point, Japan look like they do not want to score any more goals. They are just passing it around, keeping possession as tight as possible, wearing the Black Stars down as they go. How would you rate Joseph Adams' performance on his debut as a goalkeeper?
I think it's been okay. And I say this with all honesty, it's not easy to come in as a goalkeeper for your debut away to Japan,
Yeah.
playing for a Ghana side that isn't a usual strength.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. I mean, he's making his debut. There were a few jitters. His clearance in the first half that went straight to the Japanese team and they almost scored from that.
Yeah.
He's also had some good moments, decent saves here and there. Couldn't have done anything about the first goal. However, I think with one goal, he should be covering the near post. So I think it's been an okay performance for him.
And it looks like the two Prince Owusu's have come on.
Prince Owusu squared.
Prince Owusu of Midiama and then Prince Osei Owusu of CF Montreal have all come on. Very close off.
Prince from Ghana, the Ghana edition and then the US edition.
US edition now is born in Germany.
At this point, I think Otto is just trying to say, you know what, just go out there and have a team of the game.
Yeah, just do your thing.
Coming to Japan is not easy. If you start in a plane for almost a day, at least just come here and have a feel of the ball in the grass.
And usually you don't have a straight flight, you have to transit. That's also another stress altogether.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've had 88 minutes, almost 89 minutes of football. Still 2-0 for Japan.
Have you noticed they're using the Chiranga ball for the World Cup?
Yes, I've noticed that.
Another reason why it was important that
these boys
players actually come and have a feel of the World Cup ball.
And that is why Japan actually got a strong side. So everybody actually has a feel of the ball. I think that the whole planning has always been an issue. Real planning, proper planning, it's a very big issue. It's something that people have to really sit down and discuss, management level, all of that. There has to be a proper understanding of these things. That even touching the ball is so important because not every ball is the same. The Premier League ball it's different from this ball, it's different from an AFCON ball.
Yeah.
So it's also important. And I remember even the 2010 World Cup, the Japan was so different from every other ball. That was a very
That was close.
That was very risky.
Very
from
close
Britain.
from Britain.
Very risky.
What you don't want to be is an error leader score.
Yeah.
As a goalkeeper.
Yeah, that would be the end of literally the end of your career in the national team because people will never trust you again. Very strong from Bosnia. Very, very strong. See the problem, he's had to drop so deep now and build up will now be a bit more stifled.
Even with that, they couldn't even still go past the halfway line.
Yeah. They're still all in their own house. That's a free kick. Because was really trying to show he's wearing the number 5. I wonder why he chose the number 5 of all numbers.
I think it's just a case of what's available. You know these friendlies, you just pick any number. No one really wins in these type of situations because how do you even assess these players?
Yeah.
There will always be an asterisk to these type of games because it doesn't. I don't think you got enough information from this game to make a decision perhaps on who your second or third choice goalkeeper becomes.
Indeed.
Assuming Salah is number 1. Or have you seen anything close? I think that okay, this guy is making a case for himself for the World Cup squad. I don't think there's really any strong positive from this game, or even any negatives to say that nah, this guy is not World Cup squad, that he's definitely not going.
Yeah, I mean nobody has made a crazy error that has led to go for you to say that hey, he's not good enough probably. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, Bezevanan had some jitters early on in the game, but he's looked more settled. I mean, apart from that very close shave that he had. And so there's not really much to go by. And besides, he's not played alongside the well-set defense that we usually know. For us to say that, okay, I mean, the ball is down to you, and either you are that good or you are not that good. So, really, even not for just Joseph, but for every single person. For Prince, even though he showed promise, for Prince Ose Wusu, who just came on. For everybody, it's just the asterisk is always going to be there. I mean, there's not a full complement of the team for these little clubs for to have to make a real assessment. So really in the end he would just have to be forced to call some more players in March. That is if even the full complement of this side, the key players are around.
And so full time at the Toyota Stadium, Japan 2, Ghana 0. 2 goals on each side of the half. The first from their captain Minamino, and then Duan ensured that Japan pick up what was a routine win at the end of the day against Otowado's Black Stars. And so the first game of the Korean Challenge Cup sees Japan pick up victory against Ghana. A reminder that the live coverage of this Korean Cup was brought to you by MTN Everywhere You Go, and then there's Hisense Electronic everyday prices for everyday